The following podcast may contain spoilers, profanity, and views or opinions that may not be representative of the author's intent of the articles discussed. We don't always take ourselves or the subject matter seriously either. Listener discretion is advised.
Please subscribe to this Galactic Network podcast by going to gncast.com/subscribe or search iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, or anywhere podcasts are offered.
This week, we have the top 10 list of FBI myths. Now, you're a level-headed California resident. I can't imagine you'd think that there's any myths about the FBI.
Damn the government! No, sorry. I mean, yes, I completely trust and have complete faith in our rulers.
Yes, our supreme overlords. Now, we all know that they're listening to this. You'd think that they would use their supercomputers to download and bump up our numbers, but hey, that's just me.
You can also support our Patreon by going... Oh, no, I'm sorry.
You can do any number of things, FBI. Kick us a little bit of that sweet, sweet government cheese.
We don't care if it's illegally gained funds. We don't have a problem with that. We will take bribes from Russia.
Wow. Before we end up in too much hot water here, let's go ahead and crack number 10. The FBI has plans for a Nikola Tesla death ray. Now, if you're not familiar with who Nikola Tesla is...
Everything Edison claimed was pretty much Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, and anything involving electricity was Tesla.
Also, he was the brains behind the 5-man acoustic jam in 19... No, that's a completely different Tesla.
Oh, it's a different Tesla. Nikola Tesla in around 1934. I can't find an exact date. I'm too lazy to continue to look, but he created a particle beam called the Teleforce, which...
Sounds like a 1980s Chuck Norris movie.
Or something on Star Trek. Yeah, and he used the Teleforce. So I personally was super interested in this one because there was, in 2014, a computer game came out in which they used the death ray, the Teleforce, as kind of like the climax of the game. Now, before we get into that, I just want to talk a little bit more about what it was. I mean, I guess I don't know. He never really described like why he made this thing.
It was a proposed defensive weapon that accelerated pellets or slugs of material to a high velocity inside a vacuum chamber. So he could basically make a beam that was the width of a hair, but it could fire extreme lengths of space and actually take a plane out of the sky.
Okay.
And like anything else, it was probably he was doing it because of the theoretics of it, but the real world applications were things that at that point in time, in times of war especially, we would have had a real world use for. So the question became, did these plans actually get taken away by the FBI? And that's been one of the rumors for a long time.
Which wouldn't surprise me. You're apparently on a better part of the internet than I am. I can find that, but...
I'm just well read.
We all know I hate to read. Have you ever seen the movie Eraser starring my man crush Monday, Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, that's one of the ones that I have not seen.
Hey, it's a great movie, but there's a gun that they use, and it reminds me of like the rail gun from Quake or Nikola Tesla's Teleforce because it shoots like this air, like a beam of light. Very fast, very thin, and it's a super weapon essentially, which is exactly what this thing is. So it's interesting to kind of look back on things that were created in the 30s that are now kind of, well, Eraser's like 20 years old, but are now becoming kind of popularized through pop culture.
Yeah, and there was actually a letter written by Tesla to J.P. Morgan Jr. In 1934 where he described the weapon. So this was something that was actually, there were plans, there was thought process that went into this, and why wouldn't you assume that the government is going to try to put their grubby little mitts on that?
Yeah, but I guess, I mean, I get what it was. My question is why? Why would you create a weapon unless you want the government to buy it? And
want someone to buy it. Now, Tesla was an actual citizen of the U.S. but the rumor was that he was treated like he was an alien or a foreigner, and they captured this stuff from him in a kind of like a bullying means to say, look, we're going to treat you like you're a threat to the national safety, and so we can just take all your stuff. It's kind of like what happened in Thor.
That's a really good analogy. But once again, I say, like, why wouldn't... If I was making a gun with the purpose of doing high-powered damage, how else do you expect this to go? Like, if I made some super high-powered sniper rifle in my basement and was talking about it, like, can you really be surprised if the government takes it away?
No, I don't think you... But at the same time, some people just follow things because it's the mystery. It's the love of making something. It's the love of exploring science. Have you ever seen Real Genius, the sweet 1980s Val Kilmer movie?
That's not the one where they print the... No, it's Weird Science, where they print the girl.
Yeah, no, that's different. In Real Genius, a couple of college guys are making an extremely powerful laser, and they're doing it for college credit so they can graduate. They think of all the possibilities of what it's useful for, and then after they actually succeed at it, they find out afterwards, no, it's only really useful if you want to kill somebody from space. And they are floored by this because sometimes you're just chasing the things that are unknown, and it's like a hacker. There are people who hack only because they want to open something up and see how everything works inside, and it's not necessarily that they're unethical or that they're trying to cause pain to others or even rip people off. People hacked because it was just something that was like working on a puzzle to them.
That's true.
And there's no right or wrong in their minds on it.
Curiosity killed the cat. You know,
yeah,
and that's I never got into hacking, but I always wanted to because I always thought it was really interesting, and it was more so the fact of like, well, let's see what I can do, let's see how far I can get. That's why I like to get drunk at weddings and when there's open Wi-Fi and see if I can get onto the router.
You like to test your limits,
yeah.
Yeah.
I like to see where the night can take me. It's almost like an exercise in like how hard do these people want to try and keep me out of here? You know. If I can put in the default username and password, then they kind of deserve it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You oh, yeah. That was like a lot of my jobs when I used to work for the public sector in tech was going to people's homes and fixing their wireless routers so that people could not do that. And then you've got the Internet of Things, which opens a whole new can of worms on it. Yep. But that's neither here nor there. The question is not just why was this even something to invent, but then why wouldn't the government want to take it away? Because if it's sort of we have to take it before someone else does, because if it lands in the wrong hands, that presumes that you're the right hands to have it in. But if it lands in the wrong hands, then we're in big trouble. It's kind of like the atom bomb. The atom bomb happened, and it was all theoretical, and it was something that once we saw the destruction that it caused, it's kind of like let's put that back in its box. Let's not do that. I mean, we'll do it a second time, but then let's put it back in its box and try not to let that, because now we know how destructive that is, and it's sort of something that nobody should touch. Yeah. And this feels like one of those things that maybe, especially for its time, nobody should touch. But once you've opened that box, it's hard to close it again.
That's very true. It's very true. I don't know, maybe Tesla's inventions are exciting to you and you like playing video games that involve you playing a cop. I don't know. As mentioned earlier, there's a computer game called Tesla Effect. It's a Tex Murphy adventure. If you're into old Sierra point-and-click games, this will ring a bell. But the bad guy gets his hands on Tesla's death ray and ultimately is going to blow up the whole city. And it's up to you to stop him. I thought it was interesting that something like an invention from the 30s is making this pop culture resurgence, I guess you could say. But it's a good game. That's just up.
I mean, a lot of pop culture stuff that comes up with Tesla. Another thing that I would highly recommend that's kind of got some some ties to him in a fictional sense is the comic book series Atomic Robo, which is basically he invents a robot, and the robot starts going on kind of sci-fi and espionage adventures and continues living his life going forward. It's really great stuff.
If you have any thoughts on the story that we just talked about, leave us feedback by emailing weird@gncasts.com. That's GNCASTS.com. Weird@gncasts.com. You can call our voicemail number. It's 805-328-3966. Tweet at us, Facebook at us, or just leave a comment on the website, gncasts.com/weird.
Follow this Galactic Network podcast on Twitter, like our Facebook page, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Find us by searching for Galactic Network on all the major social networks, or click on the icons at gncast.com.
Hi! Hello. Making a promo is hard. Hey, this is Brad Ludwig from the Adventure Party podcast. Every Sunday we talk about board games, card games, role-playing games, reindeer games. Co-host, friend, game designer, and gaming store manager Glenn Bittner reviews a game each week and recommends something to add to your library or game closet setup thing. Our Kickstarter spotlight shines on a game you should back with your hard-earned cash. We've picked successfully backed projects about 95% of the time. I really thought that airport board game from Russia was gonna fly. I shot that percentage right in the... We also chat with people who work in the game industry, or we pick an important topic that deals with some aspect of gaming. We welcome you to the Adventure Party.
Adventure Party is part of the Galactic Network. You can find us at gncasts.com.
All right, we're continuing on with the top 10 myths in FBI history. We're moving on to myth number 9. And that myth is the FBI has X-Files. Now, this is according to FBI.gov, so, whatever side of the fence you're on as to whether this is legit or a smokescreen, that's up to you. But here we go. Well, first off, the FBI is not on point to investigate the supernatural, as Scully and Mulder did on the X-Files TV show. Yes, we do have some files on some unusual phenomenon, like cattle mutilation, UFOs, and Roswell, but generally only because people reported something and we made a note of it. Some of the files do involve cases involving a potential violation of federal law under our jurisdiction that we did investigate. One example is Operation Majestic 12, the supposedly secret group of government officials tasked by President Truman to study the Roswell incident. Oh, okay. Well, that answers that. When what appeared to be a top-secret document about the formation of the Majestic 12 surfaced in the 80s, the FBI, were asked to investigate a possible breach of classified information. The Bureau concluded that the document was a fake. So bottom line, while FBI agents chasing aliens and other supernatural creatures may make good entertainment, it's not a part of our job description. How many times have I said that in the course of a workday? If I had $1, I would not be here every time that was said, because I would be a millionaire. And to continue on, we do not have a secret collection of X-Files squirreled away somewhere. Do you believe them?
The truth is out there.
I want to believe! Looking through this list as a whole, it is very much, this is what we don't do, and trying to kind of put a polish on the things that they do handle. It makes sense. I mean, again, depending on if you're a conspiracy person, this could be a big smokescreen and they're just saying, no, not our job. We don't do that.
I think for the most part, it's not what they do, but I would think at some point they would have just, even like a handful of files that fall within the category of the unexplained, supernatural, extraterrestrial, whatever it might be, somehow like ties into whatever case they're working on. It might not be like a main focus, but I would think that it would be a part somehow. So that's just my theory. I don't think it's like as widespread as folks would like it to be. I just think it's, like here and there.
Yep. And in the document that we're looking at and you can find that too. It's on FBI.org. It's in their archives section. It's from, if you were to follow the breadcrumbs, you'd want to go to News Stories 2008 July FBI 100 Top 10 Myths. Start at the top. They have a button for news and just move on from there. They do have a link to something called, in the text where it says, we do have a file of some unusual phenomenon. Unusual phenomenon is clickable, and if you click to it, it actually has a short list of some of the unexplained things that they have been asked to investigate. And one of the items is Project Blue Book. One of them, and we talked about it on, I can't remember if it was Alien Invasion or one of the other shows, where we talked about Uri Geller and ESP, and the government actually did quite a bit of testing on ESP to see if it was a legit thing and if they could be used in military purposes for spying and such. Anything to get a leg up, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, they are asked to investigate some weird stuff, but instead of having the multiple, metallic file cabinets filled with crazy stuff, they've got, it looks like maybe a half of a filing cabinet filled with just a few files of strange things they've been asked to look into that they still cannot explain. So, insert sad trombone here.
Wah, 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 wah.
If you have any thoughts on the story that we just talked about, leave us feedback by emailing weird@gncasts.com. That's GNCASTS.com. Weird@gncasts.com. You can call our voicemail number. It's 805-328-3966. Tweet at us, Facebook at us, or just leave a comment on the website, gncasts.com/weird.
If you like what you've heard on this Galactic Network podcast, please consider helping us out financially by going to gncast.com/support. On that page, you'll find links to our Patreon campaign where you can make a small recurring monthly pledge of as little as $1. Or click on our Amazon affiliate link, make a purchase, and we get a very small percentage from the sale. Again, go to gncast.com/support. And thank you for supporting the Galactic Network podcast.
Thank you for joining us for another edition of Weird World Weekly. If you'd like to read more about the stories we discussed, click on the links in our show notes or get in touch with us to suggest a subject for a future episode. I'm Dave Nelson, and until next time, keep it weird, everybody.
This has been a Galactic Network podcast. For more, go to gncast.com. That's gncast.com.